of everybody, so whether you agree with it or not, as far as the topic. When I took this job a couple years ago, there was general rules and guidelines that we were told that we operate under, and it is the democratic process. And one of which is that the people vote all of us into office, and in one way, and I don't mean to make this tongue-in-cheek, or trite, but in one respect, you're stuck with our votes until the next election. And there's times where we find ourselves on both sides of issues. I think all of us can see a time where there might have been a 4-3 or a 5-2 vote, and a couple of us were on the losing side, sometimes we're on the winning side. And we deal with that because that is our democratic process. And I wind up voting a lot of times that you don't agree with. The process also includes the ability to vote me out of office at the next election. And I went in under those guidelines and those rulings, and I was very comfortable with that, knowing that I would never always please everybody. So when it comes to fluoride, and some of you may know, some of you may not, when I was elected, I was actually an anti-fluoride person. And I stated that publicly at the farmer's market during the first time Sissy and I were down there talking to the public. And I got home and I thought, gee, that was a pretty bold statement for me to make, so I started a process that took about 2 years. And I listened to people on both sides of the issue, and we listened and researched and talked and asked questions, and it got to the point where, in my humble opinion, after listening to both sides, I believed that it was the best for the overall good of the community as a whole to vote for continuing fluoride, and that's what I did. So at that point in time, obviously, there was a vocal group, and I have to say, especially tonight, I want to thank the anti-fluoride people for being very polite and very courteous, and you know, you've got your point, and I appreciate that. I have nothing against that. What I'm concerned about is that the big thing that's interrupted the last 8 months has been unbelievable levels of bullying and harassment and outrageous behavior. Now you can throw anything at me that you want, and it's not going to make any difference. We've had people tell us in writing that they prefer to tar and feather us. They've attempted to ruin our businesses. They've threatened our livelihood. They've threatened our families. One person actually in writing volunteered to kill us. That's how serious, and I've got that in writing, with the person's name. That's how bad some segments of it has gotten. And that, I think, has gone too far. And then it gets to the point, probably one of my favorite is when one of the anti-fluoride people came up and harassed my 6-year-old grandson in Walmart when I was there. You know, just behavior that doesn't meet a level that we should all be standing for. So I really thank all of the anti-people that have been civil about this. I know even with being as passionate as you are. So this may seem strange to some people, but in a time when we have people in high schools and student populations, bullying is a huge, terrible problem. And when all of a sudden we give in to the loudest bully and change our position that we really truly researched and truly believe, I don't think is the right thing to do. Because there is a solution, the democratic process is in place. We can't be voted out.
You're living it.
You asked our opinion, and then you heard it.
Stop. You guys
Okay,
stop.
so I've had a chance to debate all these items, and I'll just reiterate, we stated clearly there's a 3-part process we were looking at to help make our decisions, and that's what we did. Now, given all that, tonight there may be a switch in that. It may be a 4-3 vote or a 5-2 vote in the other direction. And if that's the case, I'll be disappointed. I won't be able to support the motion, but I won't get mad at anybody. You know, I respect your vote and your position to vote the way you feel is necessary. And so that's just a long-winded way of stating that I don't think bullies should win in schools, I don't think bullies should win in the public sector when there is a democratic process in play and possible to follow. So, Mr. Mayor, with all due respect, I won't be, supporting your, position, but I still respect you.
Let me, intercede here for just a moment. I guess I want to make clear three things. I still support fluoride. I think it's, number two, I think the opinion poll was flawed. And number three, and I completely support Dan's comments and the way this whole issue has been handled by some in our community. But I want to make it perfectly clear tonight to all of you, to all maybe watching, listening, or reading on Thursday morning. I'm not doing this because I was bullied. I don't appreciate the tactics, the language, tenor, the incivility. I think I'm well spoken on that point. That is not why I made this proposal. I made this proposal because this community needs to move forward. It's deeply divided as a result of this one matter. And if I may speak to other jurisdictions and politics, I don't find compromise a dirty word. The health and wellness of this community, and by that I mean we treat each other with more respect. We look to find ways in which we can work together to make the city be the best that it can be. It's paramount to me. I just cannot overstate that. In my conversations with the proponents and opponents in the personal meetings that I've been invited to or encouraged over the last several weeks, particularly those since the last council meeting, I have asked for each of them, and they're here, those in the room, I'm going to ask it again. Regardless of how this vote goes down tonight, I urge us as a community to not go from this room looking for torpedoes, or things that we can shoot the balloons out of the air. Will serve no purpose. I personally will be deeply disappointed if, for example, the vote were to accept my proposal, which I would be grateful for. But if I thought there are those in the room who would simply immediately find fault with the proposal and try to, I guess I'll say it another way. As I've always, in these matters, always asked that everybody do their very best to the fullest extent possible to get behind the proposal. I don't think that's unreasonable to ask. Even if that going to the fullest extent possible is not this much, but even if it's only that much, I would thank you for it. As it was stated by the young lady who spoke earlier, we have much to celebrate. But we're not doing very well in celebrating each other's victories. So, I just want to make sure that nobody thinks that somehow this proposal on my part has been as a result of being intimidated. That's simply not the case. As long as I'm the mayor of the city, each and every day forward, I'll do my very best to make this city be the best that it can be. Mr. Webb?
Thank you. I'd like to make 2 points. First one is in this motion, there's been an accounting of what would happen financially. So within this motion, what the motion does say is it'll go to the November of 2017 general election ballot, which will be our municipal election, where there will be 4 council members up for re-election or open seats. Point I'd like to make tonight is I did bind myself to the first advisory vote, and I would like my fellow council members to let us know if you're going to also bind yourself to an advisory vote.
That is a part of my motion, Lee, so I would hope so, because otherwise, if not the case, I will withdraw the motion. Simply put. We have to have, this needs to be respected, it needs to have teeth, if you will. Whatever word you want to use. But if this advisory vote is not agreed to be adhered by members of this council, then it's superfluous.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Collins.
Well, first of all, I think the law is quite clear, and I think Mr. Case explained it, I think Mr. George explained it, that the city council is the only one that can decide what to do about fluoride. And so an advisory vote is just that. The council still has to vote on it. The second thing that I think is really important for you to understand is that your proposal is to try to alleviate this divide as quickly as possible. And if it's not done in 6 or 7 months, then it's going to go on for another year and a half, and it's going to get even worse as far as a division in our community. So if you truly, and the council members who support your proposal, truly believe that there's a way to get beyond this, you don't want to do it for a year and a half.
I can't disagree with you, Brad. I'm not sure how we have ironically a bit of an issue here at cost. Cecilia, what's your thought?
Well, 6 months and a year and a half when the people know that their vote is going to be shown. I don't think it matters because that delay and knowing that in the meantime there's no fluoride, and so therefore at least that the battle doesn't happen here in council as much as it happens, for people to give themselves the time to learn about fluoride and to make that decision for yourselves. That's what the time that will be out there. It took, Mr. Gates, you said it took a good 2 years to really understand the issues, and we had a lot of different opportunities for learning about fluoride. So hoping that the time between now and the November election allows everybody a chance to take the time and learn all about fluoride. So I'd still go with November.
I'll answer Mr. Whittam's question right now. I will support and I will abide by, for the record, whatever the vote is in November of 2017.
And you as well?
I will do as well.
I heard you say that.
A couple of times. Call for the motion.
Well, I want to make sure. Brad, do you have any other comments, thoughts on that before we move forward?
No, I don't.
I think you're keeping everything in your council, call for the motion.
On behalf of the children of Port Angeles, I will not support this. I don't think it's wise to discontinue fluoride.
I have a final comment. Dan, final comment?
I would just say the same thing, that I just believe this was a decision for a council to make. as opposed to a general vote. I don't believe that in these type of matters on national, state, or local levels, it's advantageous to put those up for a vote. There's some things where most people are busy. They have their jobs, they have activities, they don't have time to research and do the things that we're being entrusted with. But like I say, you know, if it goes the other direction, I think the only person that didn't vote for the fireworks ban. Okay, well, you know, in hindsight, I can see that, well, it worked really well, and it was probably a real good thing to have. I didn't get mad at you guys when we didn't have it, and I talked with the public, and, you know, you agree to disagree. And if there's a vote to pass the motion, I will, of course, agree to disagree and respect the decision. There's, you know, it's just what we do. So, whatever happens.
And I guess as a point of clarification, that would mean that if we vote on this, that the fluoride would stop tomorrow.
Yes.
Is that correct as well?
Well, yeah, I don't, we have not spoken precisely to that date of the session.
So I guess we should clarify that. This motion
From staff's perspective, the way that the motion was read, it would just stop as soon as practical, and that means within a day or two, it would likely cease.
Okay.
So I think I was incomplete in the comment I was making earlier. My little brain sometimes gets foggy, I suppose. But I'm gonna make one final request, I guess we'll call it. I would, in the interim period between now and the election, advisory ballot, I would make this request from public in general, and also the professional and medical community as well, that we do our best on this issue to move forward. It would be a very helpful step forward if we can, in some cases, measure better into audit discussion. Seriously, at this point, there's no value in being angry, you know, upset, getting upset. For those of you who are propose fluoride to be permanently out of the water supply, and speaking as a hopeful voice as you can muster. Okay? I don't think that's unreasonable. Part of being a compromise. As for the medical professional community, I would respectfully request, and make this note that there are many in our community that have difficulty accessing medical help or dental care because of perceived cost or other obstacles or
Our apologies. I don't know what else to say on that one.
That was not rehearsed, I know you. Thank you, I actually enjoyed it some. But I would ask those that are against fluoride to act more civilly and more hopeful, positive. I think it is very reasonable, and I hope you do that. To the medical professional community, I would know it came to my attention a couple of days ago that the Vivo Dental Clinic is preparing to receive patients and individuals of all ages, I guess. I think that's true. Yes. They are providing a pathway for care, dental hygiene, and other health issues in a very cost-effective way. They're a very thoughtful, caring, compassionate group over there. And, that I think is a meaningful step, a huge step forward in providing better access, to all the medical professionals in the room, those that aren't. I would ask that a conscientious, caring, consistent to your already acting way, make available and work with us in making sure those that need care, dental care, particularly the most vulnerable, that would include those that Deputy Mayor Kidd is concerned about, and so is Mayor Downey. That we work together on this issue. When the ballot comes up, we vote, then that's when the chips will fall where they may. Maybe this interim period, however long it may be, let's be more like we ought to be, nicer to each other, a little kinder, a little gentler, to work together. This is one of those major issues. That said, the question was called for. Are there any further comments before? I'm gonna ask the city clerk to read the motion so everybody understands what it is.
It was moved by Councilmember Brooke and seconded by Councilmember Gase for discussion purposes to end fluoridation of the city's water supply.
Oh, no, that's not right.
Is that not right?
I was asking who made the second.
I apologize, Mayor
I made a
Downey.
motion, seconded by Councilmember.
My mistake. So the motion was to end fluoridation of the city's water supply, but maintain our fluoridation facilities, conduct an advisory vote on the question of fluoridation during the 2017 municipal general election, and that council agree to adhere to the outcome of that advisory vote.
Point of information.
Yes,
I thought the mayor's proposal was to suspend, fluoridation until there was an advisory vote.
Well, yeah, we have kind of a semantic question here, I guess.
It's not that to me, it's a significant difference between suspend and end.
Okay, then I respect that, Brad. I would,
It's in our agenda packet, and it does use the word "and." That was what you read, that's what was seconded. And also, I'd like to further add that it was Port Angeles registered voters only.
yes, it is correct. We need to-
It's on I-1 in our agenda packet. It's 4 bullets.